I was shocked to find out that I was running through 50 gallons of diesel fuel a day just to power my generator, and I wasn't running 24 hours a day. We probably were running 16 to 18 hours a day with the generator. There are farms in this area that haven't milked for 48 hours, and maybe even longer. I know several personally. Well, we put 18,000 pounds of milk down the drain on, was it Friday night, Saturday morning?
Friday morning and Friday evening.
Friday morning and Friday evening. Between the two times, we dumped, basically, in our case, that's a little over a tank full of milk.
We are so happy to be able to go home.
You're going to be able to go home? That's great.
It's in a little while.
That's great.
And we want to thank the Red Cross for everything they have done for us.
The volunteers and everybody, it's been unbelievable, hasn't it?
Yeah, and we've been able to get medicine and good food, and we were very, very happy here.
Yeah. You've done a great job. You did a good job. You did a great job.
Good view.
Yep. You're welcome.
All the volunteers have been absolutely marvelous. Just great. We appreciate all of them.
I think the volunteers are holding up well. I'm really impressed with that. Not only the people from the organized groups, but we have had dozens of college students wander in, dozens of high school students wander in, people from the community. My mother came over with me Friday morning and has been here every day as a volunteer herself. My son has been here with his friends right from the beginning. Just people walking in the door saying, here I am and here I'll stay. What can I do to help?
We've had between 800 and 1,000 people in the shelter between the two floors. And some people have still been coming in from the country. So you're right, to encourage people to come in. And still some people from the village. My personal home, we do not have heat, lights, or telephone right now. It was 45 in the house this morning.
Well, in spite of all the nasty things that happened to us weather-wise, great positive things have happened. We have the youth working with the elderly and understanding what real weather conditions can mean. And our future is in great hands with the youth, the way they came through.
That's correct. We have still housing people. We have had like 100 people staying at the shelter. We're serving 3 meals a day, breakfast, dinner, and supper, on an average of 60 to 70 people. We've gone out and found a family of, I think it was 6 children and husband and wife who had overcome with carbon monoxide. We were able to get them in and get them into the hospital, and 2 of the children. But they're okay. We got them back, and they're doing very well now.
When this disaster first started, we were assigned to be the American Red Cross feeding site for the county. And so quickly at 6 o'clock in the morning, we were assigned that task. So I called cooks in immediately, and they all readily came in to cook. We cooked that both Thursday and Friday, the first 2 days of the storm, over 2,000 meals for Potsdam shelters, Norfolk Fire Department, Norwood, Massena, anyone who called our high school, we fed.
This has been one of the toughest jobs I've ever had, but one of the most rewarding jobs. I mean, we're helping people out left and right. Today, for an example, a young girl I had as a student, I taught with her father at Brazier, walked in, and they're good, strong, salt-of-the-earth people. They got, her brother has 3 or 4 families living in the house with them. Their food supply is running low, almost empty, and they're spending all their money on kerosene and fuel to run the generator to keep the houses going.
The meals I think, are one of the most important part here. We've probably served on the average of over 300 meals out of here each day. And that has contributed to all the volunteer help that is given their time here. It's all free. It comes from the heart, and a lot of work here.
I was then asked to go to South Colton Thursday afternoon, and from Hanawa Falls up to South Colton, basically it's a war zone. I mean, for thousands of feet, trees in Route 56, poles across the road, lines down for miles. Earlier today, I took Dennis up to Hopkinton, and from Winthrop out to Hopkinton, it's like nothing's happened as far as cleanup. Trees down for miles. I counted, I think, 57 poles in a row just before Fort Jackson. The devastation is just phenomenal.
So I didn't reinvent the wheel. I just did what I know, what I can do and what we could do, and it came together.
And I totally understand that. The magnitude of this crisis, where you had 99% of the people in this utility area without power, is just enormous. And obviously the frustrations, I think, in all likelihood, will grow. And that's why we're trying to make sure this is the strongest, quickest, and most effective relief operation in the history of the state. You can never do enough. Whether it's a farmer at risk of not being able to milk his herd, or senior citizens who want to get back to their apartments, they all have legitimate needs. We're doing our best to meet those. We're going to continue to do everything in our power.
We know well that we're not going to have telephones for probably 2 to 3 weeks. We are in real trouble up there. So I want somebody from your office up there.
We'll get up. We have somebody right here today.
We don't have much population up there, but we can remember.
The needs are for everything, from toothpaste to toothbrushes to diapers to cots to medicine. We've seen the forest rangers go out in their own vehicles, followed by a Humvee from the National Guard, carrying chainsaws and nurses, going into every back road in all of the counties, looking for people who had no phone, no power, no way to even tell anyone they were there. By yesterday afternoon, I would say 90% of all the back roads in the North Country had been surveyed that way. We've got power coming back. There are 1,210 utility crews here in the North Country today. We've got, last night we housed over 7,000 people in shelters, about 130 shelters set up around the North Country. We are very grateful for everybody who's come out, pitched in.
There was a lady that they cut into their road, that she was eating raw meat. She was hungry. She was cutting and eating raw meat. And then at Wayne Labatt, one of the rangers got back into one of these back roads. I think on the good side, maybe next Saturday, this Saturday coming or Sunday, we'll have power on the main streets. I honestly believe some of these side roads that they won't have power in a month. And if anybody ever didn't know how important the volunteer fire department was to these small communities, they better open their eyes, because without us, and I'm going to pat myself on the back, without us, this disaster would be 3 times as bad as it is.
Yeah, it pretty much tore everything down, and we're trying to get all the main feeder routes, emergency vehicles, and just trying to clean everything up and get all the road crossings and get these people in service quick as possible. I'm working for Hinkles and McCoy. We're out of York, Pennsylvania, and we got crews from Kentucky and every place they had spare men, spare equipment. We're trying. There's quite a lot of damage in this whole St. Lawrence County area.
Yes, there is, and especially here, it's unbelievable. I mean, pole after pole. Have you ever seen anything this bad?
No, we had the ice storm back 91, 92, and it was fairly bad down near Rhinebeck. We did all that work on the restoration, but this is pretty well. We left Edwards. We went in there for 2 days on some emergency stuff to get the basics going. And now we're in, Nickelville was wiped right out. They had no phones at all. No. And we're almost all, we got a few more road crossings, and we got cable splicers in here right now. And we're getting ready to get everything fired up. Hopefully this evening, be setting pretty good.
Now by set, do you mean you'll have electricity throughout all of Nickelville?
No, no electricity. This is a communication system they're doing now. NIMO's just moving into the area.
Okay, so you're coming in setting up to make it possible to, have communication, which is so important. They can't even use the phones, for help.
Right, we're just trying to get all the phones in case of emergencies or whatever, any fires or anything. And plus low-hanging wires, and the crews coming in, NIMO crews can't get through a lot of this, so we got to get it up in the air and get it out of the way.
How long do you think you'll be here?
Well, the emergency end of it, probably a month or 2 worth of work, but this is going to reflect all the way through the summer on, it damaged a lot of cable, and just respinning the cable and getting it up where it belongs, and drop services to the house for temporary, and a lot of this work's just temporary to get us, get everybody going, and it's going to be a long time. There's a lot of damage. Edwards is severe too.
We've still got roads that aren't passable by any vehicle that we've got to park and send somebody in by foot to check on some people. It's most of them at this point do not want to leave their homes.
Yeah, I know. We've been hearing that.
I got a feeling as the temperature drops, the situation may change.
We've found some people who are very, very sick right now, emotionally and physically. And we're going to do our best to make things better for them.
Spirits did pick up just a little bit this afternoon. I seen a lot of smiles for the first time in days on people's faces because there were Niagara Mohawk trucks in town. Of course, there was no power put on, but just the sight of a truck of that nature kind of picked everybody up immensely. We could never prepare for the proportion of what this disaster is. There's no way, I don't think we could. We hadn't planned on it, that's for sure.
You know, I think we're seeing a lot of stuff here, but I'll tell you, the farmers are the ones that are really, it's devastating to them. I mean, it's their livelihood and everything, and it's going to be dumped and everything else. Farmers, they couldn't get generators. Some of them couldn't mount the cows. You know, it was 3-4 days. They couldn't mount the cows. They couldn't get water, some of them, to their cows. They were a bucket, actually like a bucket brigade. It's just devastating to the farmers, and we have a lot of them in our town.
First, I'd like to say thanks to the team that's up here doing it. They've hunkered in and done a great job, and county government has a great bunch of employees and volunteers, and we're very, very proud of them from up here.
It shows the diversity and the flexibility of our county employees.
Certainly does.
They've been doing a great job. They've been all over the place. I know even when the weather was horrendous, I mean, they even shouldn't have been on the road there when it all started. And as I said about the Sheriff's Department, I've seen some of the state trooper cars out in the country there stopping in, checking on the homes. Again, not only public safety and the other stuff, but a lot of humanitarian stuff being done by our men in gray, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
I've been to a lot of disasters across the state and in my own jurisdiction, and St. Lawrence County has an operation that surpasses, it's excellent.
We're, the citizens up here are very lucky to have the county government and the leadership and everything year-round, but it's really shining during this emergency.
It certainly is.
How are farmers making out, buddy?
Not very well. A lot of them are in serious trouble. They don't have electricity. Some of them are sharing generators for several farms. Millions of pounds of milk have been lost to this point. The economic loss to the cows by not being properly taken care of is going to be severe. It's going to have a major impact on the dairy industry and in this county and the region for quite a period of months. We have a lot of generous people in central New York that have taken their own generator and shipped it up here for our farmers to use in time of need.
And like I said, it was 300 calls a day. That was everything from food to medicine, emergency medical relief. You name it, A to Z, we did it.
To everyone, everywhere, whether they might have contributed a generator, a dollar, a prayer, or even the school children, from the letters of encouragement from Canastota, New York, the people of the town of Hopkins and the North Country know there are many unsung heroes out there, if angels not in disguise. I've seen real people from Massena, Tri-Town, and the surrounding areas, as well as our locals, disregard their own personal income, jobs, and safety to help in this massive relief effort.
I called Sandy Cook at WMSA and I said, there's people outside the area that need help. And we had a conversation on the air, and it wasn't 10 minutes. Our phones were ringing off the wall for help, from water to food to anything that we could ask for, we got. This shelter has to be the most important shelter, this food pantry, the Brazier-Winthrop Tri-Town area there is anywhere. Without this, we would have died.
Some of these people have no water, no heat, no lights. Did you ever need a battery and couldn't find it? These people do. They need our help. Kids came in here crying, they're cold, with tears in their eyes. No clean clothes for days. No water to do laundry.
The elderly closed in their house, no warmth, no food. I've been calling to check it up on some of them. They're thankful for anything and everything they can receive. Babies are sick out there, and they need help.